Hey everybody, it's time for another piece of ash. This is my weekly show where we sit and chat and we talk hobby, we talk about what's going on with me. We usually talk about current events in wargaming, and I do some hobbying and build some models. The current mailbag for like 2017 is like super old, so I don't have any mailbag questions this time around. It means I'll just be chatting with people in the chat and taking questions there. I'm going to set up a new mailbag, so when this is done, when this is finished streaming, there'll be a SurveyMonkey link in the video description below to go and actually get questions in for next time. So if you missed the next broadcast, you'll get those questions in then. I got some new toys to build this time around. The new Vertus Praetors for the Custodes for 40k. This is cool because people been hating on my Knight army, and that was my new 8th edition army. And they're super fun to play, and they're like an elite army, which in 8th edition elite armies are not great. So this is a variation of an elite army. So I'm pretty jazzed to play these guys. I wrote a list. It's got 20 models in it, 21 models in it. It's not got very many guys, but it has a little bit of everything. The only thing it doesn't have right now is Allarus Terminators, and it's basically Trajan, a Contemptor, a Land Raider, 3 boxes of Custodes, which means you've got Shield Captains and Vexillarians and Knights and stuff like that. And then it's a unit of the Vertus Praetors. And so I'm going to build the Vertus Praetors right now. The sprues are super cool. You get all the pieces to build any type of Jetbike. So each individual frame is a Jetbike by itself. And you have all the pieces to make all the options. So you can make them as a Shield Captain on a Jetbike. You can make him as just a regular Joe Schmuck with a Hurricane Bolter or a assault launcher. And I strongly suspect everyone will use the assault launchers because they're super cool and very good in the game. They only hit on 3s because they're heavy and these guys are always going to be moving. But because they fly, they can break off and still shoot people. If you have all the crazy warlord traits and stuff too, they can pile in and fight guys and then jump over things, and yeah, they're bananas. So I'm gonna build these one at a time, which is nice because I hate having I hate having to sprue jump when I build things. You know, only you've got like a big kit, like a Tree Lord or something like that. It's on 2 frames, and it's like go to part 38B and then go to part 96A, and you're trying to find which one's on which sprue. This is just each sprue is a dude. So I'm gonna pull out my instructions, which I hope are in here. Oh, now they're not. Oh no, they're in another box. Oh no, the prince is in another castle. We've all gone horribly wrong. I didn't look at this. We've left the instructions somewhere, probably in a box over here, without which I will be. I'm not blind building these. A younger, cockier Ash might have blind built these, but I will not do that. Where are they? Oh no! Oh no! They must be here somewhere. Are they in this box? No. Oh no! Oh no! It's all gone horribly wrong. Have I lost the instructions already? Ah. Okay. Well, now this is happening. I swear to God, I had the instructions here like 5 minutes ago because I was just looking at them being like, I better get the instructions for oh no, they're behind my laptop. They were hiding behind my laptop screen. I found them. Hooray! We've not lost the plot. The show can go on. So I'm gonna say yo to everybody and not blind build this model kit because that would both suck and blow. I'm a bit sore today. I got some KT tape on my arm because I got some bad tennis elbow from the gym, and it's not getting better. And so yeah, no, I'm kind of like slowing down. So I'm gonna say hi to the chat real fast because I don't have like an editorial today. It's just cool. I can play 40k with a different army, and this army is different enough so far. I feel like. And this is just me prognosticating, you know, like the spitballing stuff. But from all the 8th edition I've played, these guys are already in the B tier. I'm talking just purely as an army on their own, not if you use them as super allies or something like that. There's some fantastic units in the army, but you're not going to get a lot of guys in this army, and you're going to struggle, especially in the chapter for 2017, with a lot of like the progressive scoring missions and the crazy stuff. So you're gonna have to play them real technical, and I'm excited about that. So let's go say hi to the folks in the chat. We got Frost001, he's here. Congo the German Gond is here. Who else? Rogaldorn's here. Andy Green's here. Kelly Merrill's here. Chris S is here. Bufud Hood is here. BFD Hud. Bufud Hood? Is that like, do you pronounce it or do I just say things? Poddington T's here, Chris George is here, Christopher Norton's here, Tundrian B Soldier's here. Interesting. Malev de Shinobi's here. Richard Dubus. Toby Hall's here with the YOLOs. Michael Zajesic. I'm just butchered that one, sorry, bro. Who else is here? Ultramenta's here. John Pazzi's here. DM Dave's here. Nick's here. Corey's here. I think that's it. I think it's all my shout outs. Mail's got one question before I get started. It's Ash, my official first question is not related to 40K, but I'm going to go to LVO to help Sean run the Relic Blade booth. I'm both a complete noob to cons and running a booth. Have any words of wisdom? Yeah, you guys should practice. If you have a chance, if you and Sean are going to get there like the night before and set up and stuff like that, and you're going to run demos, give each other demos and practice, because you don't want the first time you do something to be the first meeting you have with a person, right? And boil the demo down to maybe not the whole game, maybe just like showing core mechanics, like a guy fighting two guys. Like you take the questing knight or whatever the coolest new model Sean is, you know, bring it to the LVO that's all painted up, and have a little story, have a little setup, maybe like a little like 18-inch square encounter. Have it tell a story and then play through the little story encounter like 3 or 4 times the night before, just so you guys get an idea of what could happen, what you should advise people to do. And then remember, when you're playing a demo, you're playing both sides, right? You're trying to make sure that the encounter is fun and interesting, but that you're leading to sort of like a conclusion. And so my recommendation is always practice, just like anything else. And don't be afraid to like get your mistakes out early and get them out in front of the guy that you're going to be working with, as opposed to the random stranger you're trying to show this is cool too. And that's really it. And then just focus on when you pick models to use in the demo, focus on things that really show off the key aspects of the game. Like, you want to make sure, because you've got all those cool little keywords on the side of the card, you want to make sure that you explain how you like equip items to people. Because one of the cool things about Relic Blade is like how you attach cards to cards, you know what I mean, to like build out your characters and stuff. And you want to show that off. Like, you want to show off like, okay, so you got, here, let me just show you the cards, here's how they are, here's the reason this guy's got this, and this, because he's got these little slots on the side, and you can pop cards onto him, and that's how you customize your characters in the game. So you've got a knight, and he's off trying to blah, 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 and then you set the scene, and you do that. So it's kind of like you're trying to give it greatest hits. And the best thing to do is, like I said, practice that with Sean. And that way you're both on the same page, so like you're both giving the demo the same way, because you're going to have one set of equipment. And if 2 people explain everything differently, the demos will be inconsistent, you know what I mean? And kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of schizophrenic, as opposed to just agreeing like, okay, so this is how we're gonna do it today, and then just like throwing down and going. So that's my 2 cents if you're going to LVO with the Sean. And thank you for doing that, because you're gonna have a lot of fun, and great on you for helping out Sean. Michael Zychek, he corrected me. Thanks, buddy. I'm the worst. BFD HUD. Okay, BFD HUD is how I'm supposed to say it. Ultraman says, I'm an absolute sucker for Lancer Cavalry, so I have to get some Jetbikes to go with my back Templars. Makes sense. Neutron's here. Enigma of Gur. I hope that end up being fun, and tiring is the unimportant part. The tiring, I don't know what that means. Cardboard Dynamo's here. Timberry's here. I don't know what's more expensive, buying models from Jib or buying something from Apple Store. I had to buy an adapter for $70. Yeah, it's, and I'm talking about the Apple Store now. It's never cheap to go to the Apple Store. I have, my whole life is iOS driven, and when we have to upgrade, it was really funny. We went into our local cell phone provider this week to upgrade our phones, and there's such criminals. Like, cell phone companies are such criminals. They make me so mad. It's like, they're like, okay, so you can upgrade your phone, but here's the thing with your phone is you're on like a legacy plan. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell's a legacy plan? Well, your older, cheaper plan basically only qualifies you to upgrade to the iPhone 6. And I'm like, we have iPhone 6S's now. So what you're saying is I could downgrade my phone a generation, or I could change my plan. And she's like, basically, yes. And I'm like, so basically you're telling me that you're criminals. And she's like, yeah. So we upgraded to 8s because they had like a promotion going where you didn't pay the $600 or whatever to get a new phone on 8s. And by the way, this is all speaking as a Canadian cell phone companies are absolutely the worst. They're followed closely, but like if you think you have it bad in the States, my cell phone plan for me and my wife is like $300 a month. And that's just for 2 cell phones with like, an average amount of data. It's retarded. Like, it's absolutely insane how much we pay for cell phones. And then of course at the end they explain to you like, so this is how much of your bill each month is to pay off the principal on the phones, and it's like $35 a month. And then, this is the amount you owe on the phones basically because you're getting them as a promotion, and then when it's gone, it's gone. I'm like, yeah, but like, you guys know that you don't take that charge off when you're done, right? Like when we're done paying off the phones, you keep charging me that $35 a month. And she's like, oh yeah, I know. I'm like, so what you're saying is when I'm done my contract, I should just cancel my phone and come in and say like, hey, and then just turn around and come back and be like, hey, I have a phone. I would like a plan. She's like, you absolutely should do that. And I'm like, then why don't you just like take off the charge? And she's like, dude, I just work here. It was awful. What else we got? Enigma of GR says, hey, Asher, you're getting weirdly warm weather over Niagara. Michigan's like 40 degrees. The temp change making me go visit my sinuses. Yeah, everybody's sick here. And it's like 55 degrees right now. Like we've got this weird like warm blast that's come through. And it's heated everything up. Yeah, I built the fuselage. It's actually relatively simple, these kits. There's a big chunky fuselage piece, and now it's front pieces. I am going to build all 3 of them with the launchers, and yeah. I mean, I could like magnetize them or blah, blah, whatever, but like, I'm just going to build them with the launchers. It's so hard to see which gun is underslung on the thing anyway, that if I do want to use them as hurricane bolters at some point, I'm just be like, these guys have hurricane bolters today. of the 2, downgrading them, people I think will be less upset about because they can't even see them anyway. They're literally slung underneath the Jetbike, so I don't think it's gonna matter. Philip Hippo was here. John Podsy's here. Mail says appreciate the words. Yeah, no worries, man. If you and Sean practice, it'll go a lot easier. Like talking about Relic Blade again, it'll definitely go a lot easier. Michael Zacek says, no worries. Zacek says, my name is impossible to pronounce unless you speak some Slavic languages. Yes. And I do not speak any Slavic languages, except English, which is like bits and pieces from thousands of years ago. Philip says, I'm excited to see the kit built. Well, so far so good. I haven't screwed it up yet. I mean, maybe. Question, Frost says, an un-40k question. Are you or the cooler interested in the upcoming Fallout Wasteland Warfare game? I think it looks a bit interesting as it has co-op and narrative modes from the start. I do. And I am. I actually am the guy that built the big 5,000 person Facebook group for Fallout Wasteland Warfare on Facebook. That's my Facebook group. So I'm already chatting with John Webb and Chris Birch about it. And you will definitely see me playing some Fallout. Because, I mean, it's literally all I need is the rules and the dice. Like, I have Fallout miniatures already. And I'm ready to rock and roll. And I guess cards and stuff, too. The Kickstarter, the pre-order was a bit spendy for me. 1,200 Canadian for the here's the first wave kit was... I mean, I guess I could sell an army or a kidney or one of my kids. But I don't know if my wife would approve that for me to get Fallout stuff. So we'll see what happens. But we'll definitely be playing it. We'll be checking it out. I'm chatting with the lads from Modifius right now, so I'll be playing it for show. Toback says, hey Ash, you well? Any tips for 1,000 point list for orcs in 8th? Yeah, take lots of orcs. Lots of orcs. Orcs are the best part of the orc army again, and that makes me so happy because they are truly a horde army again that is good at being a horde army. So don't be afraid to just take lots of orcs and run forward. Orcs with like the command staff. So like 2 units of 30 orcs and all the gubbins that goes with them, and then, you know, pain boys and all the stuff that makes them not die. You're in good shape. They will do the crumping, as my buddy Christian says. Hey Ash, when does the Forge World book for the Custodes come out? Says Malus Harding. I don't know because I don't work for Forge World, so you'd have to ask them. I think they have some kind of... They talked about it. Some people like ambushed them. It's I remember reading some people ambushed them like it's Warhammer World and like ask them a bunch of questions. I'm sure they will. It's highly unlikely they would have Forge World kits and not give them 40k rules because Forge World likes selling things, and 40k rules will sell things. You don't want to just sell something for 30k when you could sell it for everything. Dallas Costa says, Bell or Tellus, even worse, Rogers, that's my provider. Although after being informed that I could basically downgrade my plan, I said, okay, my wife was like, how long is this going to take? And I was like, well, it might be real short because we might just be walking over to Bell. And after that, the girl I was dealing with stopped laughing. she wasn't excited anymore. Aldermentus says in the US there's no such thing as upgrades anymore. You get an adjustment to the monthly fee you pay for your device. You don't actually own your phone anymore, you just rent it. Yeah, it's a mortgage, but like at least at the end of a mortgage you own your house. You know what I mean? Like at the end of a cell phone contract, you just get a new mortgage basically. Like that's what always seemed stupid about it to me, is like you have a device that no one wants because it's old. It's a genius like planned obsolescence plan. Like I have to appreciate the elegance of it from like an evil business point of view, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. You know what I mean? It doesn't make me any happier about it. John Pazzi says I pay £35 for an SE for unlimited calls and texts and 5 gigs internet. Wife is the same, so for $42 a month. So you guys pay roughly like $60 or $70. You're probably Canadian, that's the conversion. So you're paying roughly $150. You're paying half as much as I do in the UK. Yup. Enjoy. It's because we effectively have like a telecom monopoly and a cable monopoly in Canada. It's just not called that, and our like CRTC doesn't really do anything to stop it either. It sucks, but that's just being in Canada. Thorai says Paul Walker says 6mm Custodes. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there. Actually, I'm pretty sure that those guys who make all the conversions or the garage kits for 6mm epic Horus Heresy stuff have probably already beat me to it. There's probably tons of it out there that I could find, and I would totally do it. I actually still have unpainted piles of the Forge World 6mm Grey Knights that I briefly used in Epic. I think I painted some of them. The problem was they were so breakable. Like you would just pick them up and like accidentally, because they were just resin and they're tiny, you just like crush their spears. Like they were just break. They were even worse than plastic guardsmen. It was not good. They would explode quite a bit. They were known for their exploding, and so I didn't play them a lot. Thorai says, any thoughts about Malign Portents? I'm super stoked about it. I actually, my buddy Christian came to... Oh no, I've missed a piece. I've gone too far. I need to put this piece in first. I almost went too far and then like missed putting in like a grill. He's been reading up on all of it. I haven't had time to actually read up on the website and stuff, but he's stoked about the fluff in the background. We played a bunch of Shadespire and AOS this weekend, which was great. And so he got super jazzed about it and explained like some of the stuff that's coming up and some of the things that are being theorized. He's really jazzed. He's convinced that there's going to be shadow elves, that all the elves that are basically they're from the elf people that are sort of like spoiled by Silver Tower. So like what's his name? The two Silver Tower characters, the Tenebral Shard and the Mistweaver Shay. That their people are going to be sort of like launched by this, and I think that would be super cool if there was a new elf faction. Because I love the elves, and I love all of the like last gen elf sculpts. Like the last gen elf, like high elf sculpts and wood elf sculpts were amazing. The white lions are amazing. The Phoenix Guard, all those models are great. But they don't really. The problem with the elves were they were so fit to like the elf lore and Warhammer Fantasy Battle that they don't really. Sorry, we got the fairing and the front piece done now with my assault launcher on the bottom. But you can see here, like they're just this like tiny little thing on the bottom. I don't think anyone's going to notice if I say that they're just, today they're hurricane bolters shooting pop cans. What is happening now? Something just exploded. Sadly, sorry, I was just going on Shadow Elves. I'm really hoping that's the case. I'm really hoping that's the next jam for them, because I think Shadow Elves would be super cool. Be really neat. Richard Dubois says, did you see they have a big pre-order for Sisters of Battle on GW's website? Do you think they were working on Sisters of Battle, trying to get rid of a surplus? They're probably just making it so that you can understand how the army works. Like, I think they're probably just trying to reorganize the way Sisters are on the website more than anything else. I doubt it's an inventory dump. It's probably just them trying to make it easy to find. What was the next one? Sadly, my fiance and I are both into Fallout games. Yes, well then you will be all into the Fallout, I'm sure. 14, 17, 22, 13. Oh man, I gotta find more pieces. Okay, so it's wings, top bit. It seems like the bike itself is super easy to assemble, but I'm like, I have some trepidation about the guy. The guy seems like he's gonna be less easy to make. Oh, 14 is the foot pedals. It's funny because they're having you build one side of the bike at a time, and I'm finding that it would just be easier because I can either wait and skip ahead, or I can just clip out all the pieces at once and clean them all at once. See, once I've done this once, I'll be fine. Like, I'll know like what I'm doing. And so I can just sort of skip ahead and I'll do like 3 steps at the same time and just clean them all. Because for me, it's always the stopping and starting and like looking that makes a model build annoying. As opposed to just being like, okay, now I need all these pieces. And I just clip them all out, make a pile, and then like clean them all at once. And keep going. What was next? I switched to Boost Mobile for no contract. That's nice. The problem is we have old phones. And the big problem with being an iOS guy, and maybe you guys who are on like Galaxy and like the Windows phones don't get this, but they balloon the OS on iOS to the point where it's like we had 16 gig. We had like basic iPhone 6Ss. And at the end of the lifespan of that phone, like when our contract was up, because we got them when they were new, the iOS was 8 gigs of the 16 gigs. So fully, like, just the operating system of the phone was holding like half the phone. And now they don't even make those anymore. They only make like 64 gig phones. So like now I have a 64 gig phone and like it's fine again. But it basically pushes you into the new phone because like your phone just stops working. Like it slows down. You like we couldn't even take a picture without like it filling up or have any apps on our phones that are filling up. So like, yeah, super annoying, super duper annoying. Paul Walker says, yeah, there's a complete Custodes army in 6 mil. Thought maybe you got some. No, I don't have any. That's super cool, but I do not have any. Martin Schultz is giving us a, okay, cool. All right, we're just gonna skip this whole part of the chat because things got crazy. 8bush Jesus says, haha, Owen just postponed his live show for me. Whatever, man. Owen, we can share fans, dog. You can go live too. We can just, maybe I'll just put them on in my phone and we can talk shit to each other and both have live shows at the same time. Blargus the Whelp says, I'm still hoping for some kind of a Mordheim revival. I want all the Necromunda just to show support for the specials games. Yeah, man, I think we'll see that. Like, the nice thing with Mordheim is now it's actually established as a video game, and it was pretty successful as like a Left 4 Dead style multiplayer co-op game. I played it. It was fun. Vermintide was really fun. Mordheim was really fun. Vermintide was really fun. What I'd really like to see is actually, I'll be honest, I think Mordheim would be great. I'd love to see Mordheim come back. I think Vermintide would make a great miniature game. I would love to see, and because you need something appropriate apocalyptic. If you just made Vermintide as a miniature game and then just had the city that it takes place in be like the setting, you could do basically Mordheim, but like with like surviving bands of people like banding together, and it would be great as a co-op game. Like you'd have as a co-op game. There'd be all kinds of cool things you can do. So like, while I like to see these things come back, I do think that, you know, exciting. Those are exciting ways of doing that. Philip Hippo says, I think an army of 20 of these bikes or 18 plus 2 shield captains on bikes would be viable. I mean, like, it's a skew, right? Skews are never not viable, but they all have hard counters. The nice thing about that army is you'd be able to fly away from people and then, you know, still shoot and still fight and stuff like that. So it'd be viable. I think it'd be more viable if you took Supreme Commands and just took them all as captains. Which is lame, but you can still do it and have them be captains. Oh, I don't know where this piece goes. Oh, no, I do. I figured it out. There we go. You go there. I'm trying to figure out where the little wingy bits go. And they go on the side, but there's no like obvious like port for them to fit into. It's actually just a bubble sticking at the side that they attach to. And then it's the foot pedals. We're doing great here, boys. Getting mounted up. Saddle up, boys. We're going to war. It is nice though, because these 3 models eat up a big chunk of my army. Like, I have the 5 Custodes painted from my copy of Prospero Burns, and that's actually going to be a shield captain. But I'm going to like touch them up and stuff because actually, I don't even think I ever counted them for 2017 as being painted or 2016 as being painted because I didn't really finish them. I got them done for the video. I just got them like washed and based, and I don't think I really count them as finished. So I'm going to take them and finish them a little bit more and probably use them as like my tests for how am I going to do everything else. And then these fellas will be will be the next thing that I paint, I think. I'm supposed to give him a sword. I don't want to give him a sword. That's just one more thing to paint. All right, the bike is getting pretty close to being done. This little guy goes over the back. Yeah, he just goes over the back like that. All right, so there we go. So now like all the little wings are on. Whoa. And this little post, and then the foot pedals are on it too. All right, what's next? We got exhausts and swords and the top fin. And the top fin. Let's keep going. I do have Owen plus Ash live show. It'd actually be something I'd be really interested in seeing. I like seeing the two get together for the recent reviews. I could. We need to get the studio wired. That's one of those things I'd really like to do, but getting the studio wired for high-speed internet, unlimited high-speed internet is like, well, I'd like to just end 2018 being able to pay for the studio and have my kids also eat. That's where I'm at. If we could just stick to that, that'd be great. You know, an extra $100 a month to get the studio wired for internet. We'll just see where we end up on that one. I'm just happy to like be able to continue and pay the power bills and stuff, because that's also not cheap, unfortunately. Oh my gosh, why don't you go like this? How do you go? No, you don't go like that. Oh, I see. They go like this. Oh, it's 2? Nope. Yep, maybe. I've put the wrong piece in now. I'm broken. Hey, says LC, I just got my GMG wifeful widget from Definite Designs. I'm really loving it. I hope it supports you in some way. It does. Most, like 90% of what happens when you buy one of my widgets goes to DRD, but they do all the work, and so it should. So I get a little bit of like a commission basically just for spreading the word about those widgets every quarter, and it helps out a bit. But you know, like it's the most important thing is those guys keep going because they're a great little independent company. Oh, I found out what I've done wrong. There we go. That's what I've done wrong. It's gonna go right there. I'm messing this up. More importantly, you have an awesome GMG Wazer Wifle widget that you get to show off to people, and maybe they'll come watch my show. That's the most important part. Tell everybody where you got it. If G brings back Epic, I'd be so all over that. It's true. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see what happens with Dubs Titanicus, because that's the thing we know is happening. It's been delayed like a bunch of times. I'm hoping it comes back and is super cool, but like, we'll see. The biggest problem with doing stuff in 6 or 8 mil is people don't have a terrain collection for it, and so it becomes like. It becomes a challenge to continue to market it because people don't really know what to do. Not everybody currently in the hobby has that stuff. Blargus12 says, you're absolutely not wrong. Vermintide would be a great update setting, and with the sequel game in development, it would make for a good product synergy. Yeah, I think so too. I really enjoyed it. It had the right mix of like humor and, you know, like the dwarf and the elf like constantly fighting with each other. Like it just felt like they took the best of Left 4 Dead and threw it into and the best bad guy for it too, because I mean the Skaven are scary, but they're also kind of funny. You know, like they have that like that levity to them, where they're a bad guy you love to hate, but you hate to love them. And so yeah, no, I think it was a really cool setting. It was very well done, and it would let you take it back to the old world, which is what I think people would want, especially Mordheim players, and just give you that great post-apocalyptic fantasy experience again, but sort of keep it in like the continuity, you know, because like Mordheim did well because it keyed in on that great premillennial tension of the 1999 year that it was both published in and about, and even they made the year 1999 in the setting to kind of give it that same sort of like sense of dread and oh no, what's going to happen, and you know, like there's Y2K madness, which I lived through as like a young adult too. So like we're pretty keyed into like people going crazy. I'll be honest, it was mostly the old people going crazy though. The young people were just like, no man, everything's gonna be fine. What are you talking about? nothing's gonna happen. Things aren't gonna explode. Everything's gonna be great. Don't sweat the small stuff. So yes, no, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I think there's lots of opportunities there for Games Workshop to explore some of the newer stuff they've done and make it great. I think they did with Silver Tower. Silver Tower was great for that reason. It was the same but new and interesting. Tom Miller says, whoa, I hate it. I hit the chat button and then I'm trying to read something and it skips way far ahead. Hey Ash, keep up the good work. Loved your Lord of the Rings battle reports. Would you consider giving battle companies a go? I really want to. I really want to do the new battle companies. Actually, Adam Rogers from the Greenleaf Terrain, the wonderfully talented man that's made tons of my like forests and terrain sets, ponds and stuff like that you guys see in my battle reports. He's been talking to me, and so has actually Les, my buddy Les. Mandeville, he's been talking about doing some more Lord of the Rings stuff, and actually he painted up, and we've been talking about this for a long time now because he finished painting this a while ago, but doing some War of the Ring, which I'd be jazzed to do because that's a great Throwback Thursday game, and my dwarf army for Lord of the Rings is actually a War of the Ring army, and we can throw down some mass combat because it's a great game. War of the Ring is a fantastic title, and unfortunately didn't do very well, mostly I think just because it came at a strange time. It came out right before a new edition of 40K came out and just kind of got buried. But it was a fantastic game. The Jeffrey Gallagher says, I'm thinking of Militarum Tempestus Brigade for the CP. Yeah, you could do that. I think there's a bunch of... I think honestly, like, with the amount of, like, teleport shenanigans you have and the speed that the Custodes have, because I assume you're talking about with Custodes to add CPs in, just regular guard are what you need. You just need bodies. Like, the Tempestus Scions are awesome, and they look really cool. But I think the Custodes would just do fine with guardsmen. Just regular dudes, regular schlub guardsmen to go garrison objectives, and be the people that stand around and guard things. Guard things, right? Custodian guard, Imperial guard. Oh my gosh, why can I not do this right? Why are you not sitting right? Where does okay, it goes like that. It's like this does not have an obvious sitting point. It's kind of like sitting up. And what's funny is, so like I just realized. So there's a ton of like hidden. See that little inside piece? That like this inside of this thing? It's also texture on the outside. That's hidden in there. So like you can't, like, it's inside that. You can't even see that, but they've put detail in there. That's crazy. That's what happens when computers design miniatures now, is you've got like detail that's completely obscured from view by the miniature, but they put in there anyway because the computer guy was just like, well, whatever, we're gonna cast it. Or maybe they wanted to make it hollow from a casting point of view to save plastic. I don't know. Either way, there's a bunch of like gubbins in there that you're never gonna see in a bajillion years. That's really funny. I didn't realize that. We're on to step 1H. Yeah, we're still building the bike. Let's see how we do. Kylo Turley's here. Hey, Kylo. Corey says, Ash, you need to get your kids the Play-Doh drill and fill playset. The way they work, they can work along with your wife. We actually do have that. We have the drill fill playset. And my daughter uses it all the time, and she says things like, hey, I'm doing what mommy does. And I'm like, well, yes and no. Mommy's not a dentist. Mommy's gonna make the whole new set of teeth for people who've been bad to their mouths. Like hockey players. Or prisoners. Or people that just really like sugar. Have you looked into this? Sorry, Paul Walker says, you looked at the 3mm Dominion Wars of the Tusculum Nova? No, I you know what, I've probably seen it in passing. 3mm is super small. I must focus on like walkers and robots and tanks and stuff. But it sounds familiar. There was something I looked at recently that was using the old Void IP. They did a Kickstarter recently. It was like Juggernaut or something like that. It had a real old school epic vibe to it as well. That looked kind of neat. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I used the Void IP. So it was like Junkers and Vasa and stuff all playing like a giant mass combat game. I don't know if it came out yet. I didn't hear anything about it since the crowdfunded, but I mean, it could just be too early. Oh, we're putting the top on. Yeah. Now it looks like a bike. I think the bike's almost done. Whoop. There we go. Bikey bits. Bikey bits. Oh, now people are talking to each other. I'm getting lost. Kylo says, I'm planning on getting 5 boxes of bikes on my nuts. Well, the bikes are the best thing in the list, I'm pretty sure. They're the thing that if you were going to spam something, you'd take them. And you'd probably spam them as characters, taking Supreme Command detachments, because then they can just all ride bikes and be HQs and all be characters. But if the new... that will only matter until the new character shooting thing comes in from... chapter approved. If the beta rules for 40K where characters don't block other characters basically from being targeted. Although these guys don't care about that much because they have a stratagem that just lets you shoot characters without having to follow the restrictions, which is pretty great. Ultraman says you could always just phone in Owen using Skype and put his face next to yours in the live stream or something. No, never. I don't need his guest appearances. Have him come in here and say terrible things. We never know. It would be easier to do that. BFD HUD says, what was it with the Night Army that everybody complained about? They just complained that I played Knights all the time, like, because it was boring to watch. And I'm like, oh, I get that. Like, you know, it's boring to watch maybe for you, but it's fun to play. I think the difference is, like, when you play a Night list, you're only ever really going to have the same. Oh, geez, I lost my jet engines. You're only ever going to have like the same models. My 4-Night list doesn't change a lot unless I take a 3-Night list and then bring in some allies, which I might do just to try out my new Custodes, because a box of Custodes is basically an ally attachment for a Knight. Because they're like, the Custodes box is a battle force now, because it gives you an HQ, an elite, and a troop choice to take as a patrol, which makes it battle forged, which gives you crazy 3+ dudes. It doesn't give you any CPs, but it gives you access to all the stratagems and stuff. Not that the Knight list gets a lot of CPs, because they are also, hey, we have 1 formation and then we get this. I can get to 7 if I take like a support attachment. If I take the super heavy formation and then a support attachment to go with it. But it's still not a lot. Inquisitor Shavak's here. Hello all, he says. Julian Farm says, have you finished painting your Custodes 2,000 points yet? All 3 of them? No, not yet. Not yet. I'm still putting them together. For me, the hardest part is putting them together. If I trusted people, I would have them build my models for me, because I hate building models now. I think that's my least favorite thing. I love painting models and I love finishing armies, but the monotony of cleaning bits is like something I'm not super into anymore. We're building the guy. We're done the bike. We're getting there. We're doing it. You use literally every piece, I think, on this frame. There is not a lot of leftovers. I just clipped his bum, and now I'm going to clip his toes, because it's basically bum, legs, torso, back torso, front torso. Oh no, there's 3 torso pieces. Never mind. I'll have to remember which one I'm going to use. I'm using them in order. I'm going to do 24 first. 24, 25, 26. There's 3 different torsos. So they do look different. It's not just the hurricane bolter bits. And then it's back torso, which is 29, which I think is this piece. Yep. Nope, wait. Yep, 29. And 24. I tend to like just look at the whole page and try and figure out where I'm at and then clip out all the pieces for that. And then clean them all at once, because it just saves more time than sitting and like staring. I only see 1 chest piece here. Are you lying to me, thing? 24, 25, 26. Are they just all the same? I'm looking at 26 right now. There's only 1 chest piece. I don't know why 24 and 25. Why are you telling me there's more than 1 chest piece if there's only 1 in this frame? Are the 3 frames different? Oh my gosh, maybe the 3 frames are different. Weird. Weird, although they might be, because they're actually 3 they're 1 large frame snapped into 3 pieces. So they might actually have different pieces on them. Strange. Super strange. It's really rare to see that they're not just identical. Yeah, that's super weird. Okay, well, it is what it is. Everything I know is a lie now. I'm so confused. Tom Miller says, thanks for answering. Do you think that the GW jumped the gun by destroying Fantasy, although the Total War Armor is coming out? Also, why play Custodes when you can just play the Glorious Militia? I mean, maybe in Horus Heresy. I don't think they jumped the gun. No one was buying Warhammer Fantasy anymore. Trust me. They're making piles of money right now. So no matter how people feel about the fact that their IP might be different than it was, they did the right thing. Like, they're a business. You can't argue morality in a business. It's either the shareholders doing well or the shareholders not doing well, and they're making tons of money and selling piles of Age of Sigmar. And Age of Sigmar is a great game. What they basically did was just clear the shelves for it, and I think in hindsight, and I love Warhammer Fantasy Battle, but the game didn't go anywhere. I still play it. All right, I still do the occasional Fantasy Battle report. Actually, I played them up until last month. We've had guys coming in and playing fantasy with me. I think as recently as December, I posted a fantasy game. So like, I'm not mad about it. It's just something that needed to happen for them to make room for new products, and those new products are selling really well. And I know everyone said, like, you always hear, like, oh, it's dead in my area, no one's playing it, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's just not, because it's selling well. So wherever it is selling, it's selling enough that it's doing way better than Warhammer Fantasy Battle did. So however much Warhammer Fantasy Battle sold in your area, wherever you are that Age of Sigmar is not selling, in other places it's selling better. So it don't matter, it's balanced out. And people are super jazzed about Wine Importance. Shadespire's doing really well. Like, you can't argue with results, and the only result that a business cares about is money. I mean, and there's a right and a wrong way about getting money, but I think they did the right thing. I think they did exactly what they needed to do, and it's making piles of money, and they're releasing a great product, so I'm into it. What happened to 8th edition Clarence? Clarence, it's funny, man. Clarence is so like, nope, no more Fantasy Battle. We don't play Fantasy Battle anymore. I don't think he's even got his Fantasy Battle armies. They're all Kings of War armies now. He's just whole hogging the Kings of War. Like, he has no interest in playing a game, and I'm speaking for Clarence now, so like, you know, Clarence, jump on and talk. If you're watching this, jump on and talk. But Clarence has no interest in playing a dead game, because in a dead game, there's no growth, there's no movement. Clarence likes the challenge of like figuring out army lists and playing games, you know, in a competitive environment. And that only happens and progresses when there's new stuff coming out all the time. So he has no interest in the old edition of Fantasy. And he doesn't really have any interest in like 9th Age or anything like that either, because it's not you know, as popular, so he's not going to get to go to events for it. And yes, I know there are events for it and blah, 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 but it's not like his local game store is going to run one. So he wants to play the thing everyone else is playing, because he knows there'll be like releases for it. He knows he'll be getting new stuff, new puzzles to figure out, new games to play. And that's why he jumped into Kings of War, because Kings of War is still new and exciting. Christopher Lang says, so as a new dad, I'm trying to get my daughter to play some Infinity with me, but she's just choosing the dice and doesn't seem to follow the rules. What am I doing wrong? She's 7 months old. Well, you might be shooting a bit high. I'm just saying, maybe you went a bit early. You might want to go and try something a little bit simpler, like some Duplo. And Duplo might be a bit better. But good on you for trying to pass the torch. My one bit of advice for parents, and this just comes from my experience as a child, not my experiences as a parent, but I never want to be the dad that makes my kids try something. If it's around and they want to try it, cool. And if they're into it, they're into it. And if they're not, they're not. And either way, I don't care. Because I'll be honest, I don't really care if my kids are miniature wargamers or not. Because it's not something I do for my kids, it's something I do for me. Like, and it's nice to spend time with them, but I want my kids to spend time doing things they want to do, not things I want them to do. Because inevitably, they just resent it, and, you know, when your parents try and make you do something, you're not necessarily super keen on it. If they're super keen on it, it doesn't make you super keen on it, I guess what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to keep going. And if they figure that they like it and they want to jump into it, then great. Richard Dubu says, have you heard anything about God Tier, Steam Forge's new game? So the demo with Steam kind of look cool. Heard anything about it. Jamie Giblin, message me. Tell me about it. Misa says, hey Ash, you still gonna do some hero quests in D&D? Yeah, we're still working on it. The big thing with D&D is getting the right people. Because I'll be honest, you gotta get people that are good at D&D. D&D's not a game that like everybody's into and or good at. And so I'm looking for people to play it with that I know. I don't really want to play with people I don't know. And we're still gonna give it a shot. Hero Quest is literally just like, I'm painting like 2 or 3 models from the set in between painting other projects. And they're all basically like sitting in a box ready to go. It's just a matter of like, and actually it's funny because Hero Quest, I also need at least 2 or 3 players to play with, but I've got those guys are already locked in. That one's more about finding a time when we can all get together, because it's easy to organize a game with like one person and me, but if I'm game mastering a Hero Quest campaign, I need a bunch of people in me. So it's a combination of like, there's 70 something models for me to finish in between my other projects, and then getting a night where everybody can get together at the same time. But we'll get there. It's happening. It's on its way. Hero Quest is basically just a project planning problem at this point. Everything else is ready to rock and roll, which I'm jazzed about because I really want to play Hero Quest. It's one of those ones that I'm doing just for me, really. If everyone else doesn't have fun, I don't care because I had fun. Aaron Eversoul says, I only have one question with these guys before I can wait for the codex. What's the minimum unit size for them? Everything is 3. And everything's 3 on purpose because your box set, your Custodes box set, makes all of the characters. So that's why when you buy this 3-man box, let me just pull it out. That's right here in the Custodian Guard Squad. Whoop, this guy. And you're gonna want like 2 or 3 of them. It's an HQ, an elite, which is the banner guy right there, and then a troop choice of 3 guys. Because there's no character, there's no like unit leaders anymore in the units. It's just 3 custodians, and that's it. You're done. Museum says, I think fantasy is lots of fun, but just too difficult for people to get into. No, I mean, if you're into it, you're into it, and it was. I think it wasn't difficult for people to get into. I think there was a high blood price. There's a lot of work before you got to go have fun. And that really just means that, like, you know, if you wanted to play like Skaven, if that was the army, or even Empire, like just the humans, the basic humans in the game, you need to pick like a couple 100 models before you get to experience the game fully. You know what I mean? And that's a really high ask. And I think that's an okay ask, you know, from the point of view of like the historical wargamers out there. But for like young people, yeah, it's a pretty high ask. Whereas Age of Sigmar is way easier to get into. Benjamin Boyle says you still shouldn't play that crappy game. It's like kissing the hand that just punched you in the mouth. I don't think you and I view the game the same. Maybe we just have different opinions on that, buddy. And you can and no one's keeping you from playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle or making you play AOS. This is just my experience, and your mileage may vary. I'm having a great time with both, and that's the nice thing about being me, is I just enjoy everything. I don't worry about someone ruining my fun, because I'll just go have whatever fun I want. Ben says, I'm just sort of disappointed that they can discontinue all this great and not so great Tomb Kings minis. Yeah, but I mean, if you played Tomb Kings already and you didn't already have enough minis for your army, they're still out there. You just gotta go to trading groups and stuff. Like, if I could keep playing Mordheim with official Mordheim miniatures for almost 20 years after Mordheim was released, I'm pretty sure that there's enough Tomb Kings miniatures out there that you'd be able to find them. Sponsor says, did some Kings of War last weekend, was lots of fun. Yeah, it's a great game. I love Kings of War because it gives me all the movement tech planning that Fantasy did, but I could play like 3 games of Kings of War in the time it takes me to play 1 game of Fantasy, and still have that like level of fulfillment. I think that's what's great about Kings of War, is it's a great movement based game, but doesn't have all of the sort of like technical schlubbins that keep the game from progressing on quickly. Benjamin Boyle says, Age of Sigmar is just Lord of the Rings with new models. It's not. And Relic is also a great game. Rail says, are you and Clarence going to Adepticon? I'll be at Adepticon with Osprey, demoing last days. So I'll be there at the booth giving demos and various other places. I don't know if Clarence is going. He might be. I would be cool if he was. I have no idea. The Jeffrey Gallagher says, do you think Tomb Kings are coming back in line importance with a tease of a flipped pyramid? I mean, maybe. You have to understand, I'm the wrong guy to ask about that, because I don't care about like I don't care about like prognosticating. I'm not the guy that sits around and goes, oh, I wonder. I mean, I'll talk about that with people, but like I just like know I'm the guy that doesn't sort of die 1,000 deaths worrying about what is coming out. I just get excited when things do come out. You know, I like to be happy when I can have something. Like when they tease the Custodes thing, people kept asking questions about what do you think it is? What do you think it is? I was like, I don't care. I'll find out when I find out. You know, like, and when I find out, then I'll be excited about it. And if I don't find out, I just won't care. Like, if it's something I'm excited about, when I can have it, I'll know. Oh my gosh, this guy's hand is on the steering wheel. That's crazy. His hand is like built into the steering wheel. That's a little bit nuts. Because now I have to line up this guy's arm with his hand, and I just realized I've put his body a bit too far forward, so now everything's getting pushed a little bit to make her fit. So here's a pro tip. Even though the instructions tell you to put this guy's body on before you put his arm on, don't leave the body off, leave like his torso off until you're ready to put the arms on, because otherwise you're gonna get what I came into, where it's like a millimeter too far forward. And now I gotta make sure, luckily it's still a bit soft so I can push him backwards. And see what I'm talking about here. This arm slots in after you put his torso on, and I have his torso was just leaned forward like a little bit too far, and now I've had to like shove it back to like get his arm to sit in, because the hand is actually built into the steering wheel obnoxiously. There we go. Although, I mean, that's not obnoxious, it's actually really handy to get them to line up properly. You're not trying to do it, but I had to muscle his body backwards there. 8-bit G's, I have 5 shield custodians. I've got 5 more in the sprue. Would you build 5 more shields or 5 more spirit eaters? I just built spirit eaters. I'm starting with squads of 3 spears, and what I'll probably do is have, because I've got 3, I can make 4 squads of guys with spears, or I can make 3 squads of guys with spears, and then build a guy with a storm shield to go in each squad. And that's probably what I'll end up doing, because you can actually mix the squads now. You can give them whatever you want. And that seems like a better build, is you've got one guy to like tank glass cannons, because they've all, when they're Battleforged now, they all have a 4+ invul save. So even the basic guys are pretty good at shrugging like las cannons and big high impact things. But I would just have one shield guy in each squad to basically take those hits, and then the rest of the guys would take the hits that are like the bolters or whatever. So they'll have a 2+ save. They'll shred most of those things. So yeah, if you've got 5, so if you've got a box of 10 right now, what you want is you want to make probably 2 squads of 4, and then a standard, and then a shield captain. So 2 squads of 4 would be, you would need to build 1 more spirit. No, sorry. Oh, you've got too many shield guys. Yeah, you have to rip some arms off. To do what I'm doing, you'd have to rip some arms off, or make one of your shield captain, or like rip an arm off and make one of the guys a shield, a standard bearer, because you can't get the standard bearer guys a shield. Amuse says, totally agree about D&D. A group of 3 players in DM is actually amazing. That's where I'd want it to be. Like, I'd want to have at least 3 people, like, to have like a proper group dynamic. All right, we're getting towards the end here. It's spear arm time, I think. Yep, spear arm, shoulder pads, and I'm done. I'm done the first guy. Super sweet. And the shield arm is in 2, sorry, the spear arm is in 2 pieces. It's an arm and then a spear. This guy's enormous. I actually might leave the spear arm off to paint and do that as a sub-assembly, I think. That makes more sense, because the spear is really big and looks like it's going to be kind of, it might be kind of in the way when I build it. So I think that is what I'll do. I'll build it, I'll clean it, and then I'll leave it off when I paint it, and that way it won't be all in the way. I do this quite often with large model kits, and these are fairly imposing. So like, I'm not going to put these guys in their flying stands either. I'm just going to spray them the way they are, and then build and paint them afterwards. Because, like I said, they're pretty imposing, and it's super annoying to paint like spear blades when everything's put together. And as I'm a guy who will never play a game without a painted miniature, I'm not worried about having them assembled to play with. I don't care about that, because you're not going to ever see them until they're done. I'm going to go record an unpainted game. I'm not a barbarian. Clipping off shoulder pads, and we're done guy number 1. It's pretty neat. Who's next? Oh, 8-bit Jesus says, I've got a shield captain and a banner dude in that 5. Okay, so yeah. Oh, I know who you are now. I can see your picture. All right. So yeah, so you got 3 Storm Shield guys then, and you got 5 more guys. Yeah, one of those Storm Shield guys needs to turn into a spear guy, and then the other 5 you'd all make into spears. Then you'd have 3 squads basically, or 2 squads of 3 spears, 1 Storm Shield, which I think is about the right mix. And you've got your HQ and your troop choice, or your elite choice from the banner. And then really you just need to pick up Trajan, and you have almost a battalion. You have a big patrol at that point, because you have 2 troops and an elite, and you need a second HQ. So you're gonna need another box of Custodes to make them into a battalion. Yeah, you need 1 more, because you need the second troop choice, unless you break your banner and make not an elite choice and just take the second HQ. S10 says, Empire of Dust is good for Kings of War armies if you want to field them. It's a true story. Empire of Dust is very neat. They're the Tomb King equivalent that was released, to basically make that an army for Kings of War. Oh my gosh, I haven't figured out how you go on. Oh, this is like Byzantine, the way this arm fits in. Okay, I figured it out. This arm fits in the weirdest way. It like lays over top. This is one of my problems with the computer generation of miniatures these days, is I'm super confused sometimes about how miniatures go together. They don't go together in a way that is visually obvious, and they go together perfectly, right? They go together in a way that is absolutely perfect, but not necessarily in a way that is evident, you know what I mean, the way old miniatures do. And I think you get more natural looking poses that way with this new way of designing miniatures. But at the same time, I feel like the assembly, you didn't have instructions, you'd be in trouble. you'd be in big trouble. I do like the fact that I never have to clean mold lines now, though. I only ever have to clean like sprue cuts, really, and not mold lines. Yeah, we're gonna leave this arm off. So this arm's gonna stay off now that it's built. I'm just gonna check the fit and make sure it's in a spot that will line up, which means just dry fitting it and then putting the shoulder pad on. Oh, that's obnoxious. Oh, that is kind of obnoxious. Do I want to leave this shoulder pad off? I don't really, because I want to paint it all at the same time. But this shoulder's way too big. Did I put the wrong pad on the wrong side? I don't think so. I feel like the big pad should be on the other side, though. Let me see. What do you say, instructions? No, they've got the big pad on the other side. Oh, it's because this one hangs down low. I think this is the guy who's supposed to have his spear, like, hanging down the side like that. Yeah, okay. It's still super crazy. Yeah, that sits flush. And then that sits flush. And it's all dry fit. Yeah, that works. Oh, you're being obnoxious. You're killing me, Smalls. Yeah, okay, I think we're good. I think that's good. Sister Silence are not in the... No, the Mail have asked if Sister Silence are in the new Custodes book, and they are not. Mad Cow Crazy says, I'm out. This is extremely boring to watch. You should do a build and paint stream where you show nothing but a person talking, because it's only here because you're doing a live podcast is hard. No, I just do live streams every week, and I usually take questions and do this, and we talk about stuff that's on my mind. But see you later, man. J.N. Borowski says, hey Ash, it's DRD Joe in the house. What's up, man? Inquisitor Fact says, do you actually run a character when you DM in D&D? I have never played D&D, so some of the advice that I've received is that I should get an NPC or run the NPCs in a D&D campaign, and that seemed like good advice to me. So I'm not entirely sure how the thing would work, but to get involved or to be able to sort of like be an influencer in your D&D campaign, the guys who are like veteran DMs have basically told me you should just have an NPC character that you're going to run. I think that's an idea. Sounds good to me. Drew Crack says, how is the Shield Captain Terminator armor? Is he worth his extra point cost for the ability to deep strike? I'm hoping he's between 145 and 155 points. You're not far off, I don't think. I think he's in that range with his weapons, probably. The basic ones are like 80 points-ish each. So I think he's in that range. I mean, the ability to deep strike is nice. He's just another way of giving yourself a reroll ones aura. I don't know if he's mandatory though, because like you don't need to necessarily have a Terminator armor guy to deep strike, right? You can spend CPs to have two people sit in the teleportarium and have them deep strike that way. So I don't think he's mandatory anymore because you don't necessarily want to do it. And my other issue with it is that if you do decide to make a Terminator captain, you're basically losing, you're going to end up with two models out of the box. Like, I guess if you wanted to field a 5-man regular Terminator squad, that would make sense, but you're kind of losing out on an additional model from the starter set or from the box set because they only come in boxes of 3. If they came in boxes of 5, I think using a Terminator captain would be a little bit more of a useful thing, but it means you're gonna have to buy 2 boxes of Terminators now. So you'd never start off buying the Terminator box for the Custodes in order to make a single Terminator, right? Like, you'd end up with like just 2 loose guys. You'd have nothing to use. Unless you're going to make 3 heroes, in which case I guess you're taking like a Supreme Command. But it seems like it's not an efficient way basically of using that box set. So I don't know if I would. Inquisitor Fact says painted WYSIWYG, totally, yeah, that's my jam. I don't like to play games with guys being painted WYSIWYG. I'm not going to do it. Mr. Klubo says, hey mate, I'm collecting 150 blood letters and it's hard in the fingers. Yeah, I would not. I mean, they're not the worst miniatures because they don't come in that many pieces, but I can imagine building 150 blood letters. I don't know if it's just hard on your fingers, man. It might be hard on your sanity. I don't know if I could do it. That's a lot. That's a whole lot of miniatures to build. Richard Debus says, how do you get your community re-excited about a game? Any advice in trying to build my Guild Ball community back up? Just play it. Like, getting people excited about a game, typically, the number one thing I think that starts that jam going for me is seeing someone else ready to play it. Like, I will get excited about playing a game if I know someone else is going to be playing that game. So, if I walk into the local game store and I see a bunch of people having fun doing something like playing a game of Guild Ball, I'm more inclined to want to come back and play a game of Guild Ball. But there's a couple of caveats there, right? I need to be able to see people being excited about playing a game every week, which means someone needs to be in that store playing a game every week. And if they are, then I'm more likely to enjoy it. If I only see them every once in a while playing a game, it's maybe not as, it's not as enticing for me to come back. And I'll especially not be enticed to come back if people say, hey, this is the night when people play Guild Ball, and I show up with all my Guild Ball stuff and no one's there. So if you want to get your people excited about something, you got to kind of start off by just coming and playing, and then once you got a couple people playing, being like, hey, let's do something like a league, let's do something like a knockout thing, and then just give people more reasons to show up every week and play. So yeah, first get them started, get them playing, get them having a good time, get them knowing each other, right, and talking to each other. And then once you've kind of accomplished that, it's about getting them to keep going at whatever it is that they're currently doing. And we're coming up on 2 o'clock. And Inquisitor Shafak just said what I said. Play, Richard, just play. Just play everything. Benjamin Boyle says, what happened to War Machine? All the players in Atlanta seem to have disappeared. I don't know. I mean, I think that War Machine is in a great place. The game is doing really well as far as being sort of it's no longer just rewarding SKUs. The new Steamroller is really cool. Company of Iron is awesome. I love Company of Iron. It's one of my favorite games that came out last year. As far as just being what I really wanted War Machine to be. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's gotten a bit quiet locally too. There's not as many people playing it. I have more people coming to play Company of Iron, I guess, than I do War Machine, and that's interesting. Probably because it's new, and because a lot of the War Machine players that I knew that weren't excited about playing competitive War Machine are really excited about playing Company of Iron. But that could just be a symptom of the people I know versus the actual experience in the meta. But all the local War Machine guys that run the big events are still running them. Southern Ontario Open's coming up for War Machine. The Ontario Team Championship's coming up. There's a bunch of things happening locally in the springtime. Owen's going to be playing in the OTC. He's got a team he's going with to play War Machine with. But I mean, that's the competitive scene, right? That's just kind of quietly going on in the background still. Doesn't seem to have stopped. It's War Machine as usual. I guess that's really it. What else we have here? Everyone's giving advice now to Richard about how to get his Guild Ball League going, and it's all good advice. So if you're in the chat right now, it's things like have at least 2 factions on you at all times, be ready to teach people how to play. More just reiterating be in the game shop, either every week. Yeah, all good stuff. Mike Feeling says, it's funny, I'd play way more Kings of War if the guys I would play with would not spend so much time talking down another game I enjoy. Well, there is that. That is what happens sometimes when you market a game as being the anti-something else, though. People tend to spend a lot of time chewing the fat about why they are, rebelling against the machine, raging against the machine. You killed my Warhammer Fantasies, and now I'm raging against the machine. But what are you gonna do? That's people. You can't. Don't hate the game, or was it? I don't hate the team. I hate the fans. That's a great line about sports. And Wizard Vax says, use Plastic while you paint, so you can use the plastic glue, or do you file off paint? I just use brush on, so I use Tamiya Model Master Cement. This is my favorite plastic glue. It's a great permanent bond. It's super easy to get exactly where you want it to go. You never use too much or too little, and it is the jam. So I never really have an issue with paint, and it also bonds really fast. So when I put a piece on, I typically don't have to use any kind of after I've dry fit to make sure I know where it goes. I don't usually have to use a lot of stuff to make it fit, which is nice. It just goes where it's supposed to go and stays there, which is what you want from a glue. The glue and the thing stick together, and then they stay there, and then we're done. Whiplash VC says, Ash wants to go back to the old metal models holding their weapons straight up in the sky. That's not the worst thing. If you're doing a ranked up game, that can be super handy. You want your guys just holding their weapons in the air so they all line up in a row and they don't all touch each other from behind. Dan Harris says, Ash, you're awesome. Nice one. Have a great day. And we'll see you later, Dan. Have a good one. Misa says, if you haven't played D&D before and play somebody else's campaign first, maybe even 2 DMs, explains the game a lot better. Yeah, but that's not me. I'm going to jump in with both feet. I'm gonna try and do it. I mean, that's really, I think that might make it great as a video though too, right? Like, watch this idiot figure out how to play D&D or how to DM a campaign. I'm excited to try. I'm never a person that shies away from just the tell, show, have a go. Like, I'm gonna probably check out more advice and talk to people that've done it before, my friends who've done it before, and then I'm just gonna have a go, because I learn more by doing typically than by like reading or watching. I will always jump in basically feet first and try something. So, I mean, it might not be the best idea, but it's gonna be great video because it's gonna be hilarious. watching Owen try and probably subjugate all of my efforts to keep the story going, or whatever it is, or like logic his way in and out of things. But that'll be a great video, right? You guys will find it'll be fun for you guys to watch, because I think that's probably the great thing about an experience like that is we'll figure it as we go, and no matter what happens, it should be entertaining. Good or bad, it should be entertaining. Whether it tells a great rousing story or whether it is just a complete shit show of me going off the rails, I think it'll be super entertaining to watch for you guys. S-Monster says, escalations are great for AOS, Kings of War, War Machine, and others to get to play. They are actually. Box set games. A lot of games lend themselves really well to that too, and we're talking about Richard's question again about how to get Guild Ball going in his area. Guild Ball's interesting though, because from an escalation point of view, you don't really have to escalate, because it's always a 6-man team for the most part, unless you're playing the 3-man intro game, which doesn't necessarily do the game justice. Like, there's not a big ask in Guild Ball, which is nice because you can just get people to play it. But for those other games, you're right, especially if it's games like Infinity or Malifaux or War Machine that have great like starter boxes. They feed in really well to escalation campaigns, because it's just everyone has these blocks that they can start off playing with and have a go. Englishback says, you complain about GW, but they make awesome models. Ben Austin says, I'm rebasing all of my Necrons with the new bigger bases finally, but now they don't fit in my battle foam case. That's true. I'm about to do that actually for one of my Space Marine armies. I just bought the box of 60 textured bases from GW for like $40 to try and get that done. I have to figure out which army I'm going to do though. I'm torn between my Blood Ravens and my Space Wolves. My Blood Ravens are fun to play, but there's going to be new Space Wolf stuff. I can't decide. Or I could just do both. But I haven't decided yet. I'll probably start with the Blood Ravens because I use them more, and rebase them on all those new bases just so that they fit. Because now that I play with them, like on the old bases, I just feel like they look piddly. They look old. I want them to be, and that was always my keeper army, was my Blood Ravens. Because I did a nice job painting them, because they were in a White Dwarf article when I first did them, and so they were nicely done. And I'll probably do a rebasing of them first. Mads Old said, any thoughts on the Blind Portents arc and currently running for Age of Sigmar? We talked about it a little bit earlier. I don't know that much about it. I'm just jazzed that they're doing something new. And I like that Nagash is like mad at Sigmar for the Stormcast, which I think is neat too. Abby says, yeah, jump in with both feet. You go, Ash. Check out something called the 5-Room Dungeon online. It's a fantastic adventure design philosophy. It's very helpful. That sounds cool. 5 rooms sounds like not a lot of work too, which sounds like it's my jam. 5 rooms sounds like it would be a great intro dungeon. And I think we will start with a dungeon crawl actually, because there's lots of setup and stuff, but we have so much great terrain to do encounters and like miniatures to do encounters for a D&D campaign. I feel like we could do a dungeon crawl justice, because we have great dungeon terrain. And actually we'll be getting some more great dungeon terrain from Martin at Urban Mats too coming in. So there's going to be lots and lots of cool stuff to do. And then it's my imagination. Where does that go? Frost has a question just for fun. What faction are you interested in playing for Fallout Warfare? I don't even know. Probably all of them. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. It'll be whatever miniature strikes my fancy. I'll probably start off with like, the thing that's the most iconic, which is the Lone Survivor, and then work my way around the people that you would see. So like Raiders, Super Mutants, all the baddies. And we'll keep it kind of iconic. It's funny because the game is so obviously based on Fallout 4. You're almost. My only struggle with it is I'm it's a preset narrative. You know, it's the narrative of that game and the people in that game. So I don't get to play around like I did with creating the Great Lakes Wasteland. So you might see a lot of my own miniatures showing up in the game and just using the cards and the stats from the other game, and then like bringing it into my own post-apocalypse, which is the Great Lakes Wasteland, which is around here, and which we used for things like This Is Not a Test. GB234 says, when game mastering, improvise, you have a list of random names and characters on hand, so prepare to make up stuff up on the spot. Well, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea, actually, having like a random name list or a random name generator. So when you have to like drop into a character, basically, you just have like a name. You can pull out your bag of names and be like, I am Zimba the Enchanter, like whatever. You don't have to like make it up on the spot. I'm pretty good at improvisation in general, but I can see where you're going with that. That sounds like a good idea. And we are pretty much at the end because I gotta go get the girl. So I'm gonna do one more question and finish cleaning these bits and gluing them on, and then we're done. Kevin Mateski, this isn't a question, but I want to read it because it's funny. Shadespire, best game ever or greatest game ever? Like, those are the only two options. I played a bunch of Shadespire over this past week. I played probably 9 games of Shadespire with my buddy Christian, and we had a blast. So it's a great game for sure. Looking for more questions. Scott, 12508. Hey Ash, 2 things. First, I'm curious what you'd put together for a competitive Custodes list. I've made 2 lists so far with Imperial Guard detachment for more CPs. What do you think about pure Custodes? I think pure Custodes are going to be a bit of a challenge to play competitively. You're going to have to take something else. For about 550 points, you can get a detachment of guardsmen, like a battalion of guardsmen, which are just naked guys with las guns and 2 commanders. So 32 models. And then you can get 2 Supreme Command. So you're going to end up with 10 CPs, and you have 1,450 points worth of Custodes you can just build however you want. So you basically build a 1,500 point Custodes list and take 500 points allies, and you're in good shape to have all the bases covered. You'll have 10 to 11 CPs. Now you have 10 CPs, plus the D3 you get back if you take Trajan. You'll have 3 Psychers, a Colossus Assassin if you want, because you can take that in the Supreme Command as well. You'll have a bunch of boots in the ground with the guardsmen, and generally have like the bodies to stand around and hold stuff. And then you just figure out what you want to base the rest of it on. Do you want to take lots of Jetbikes? You want to take lots of Praetors? You want to take lots of regular Duders? And I think you'll have the CPs then you need to make the army a little bit more flexible and forgiving, as opposed to just being locked into, I get to make 1 or 2 plays with my command traits each game, and that's it, because I got nothing else to do. And the second one is I work for a company that makes base converters, 25 to 32, and even a squad to circle for AOS. I'd be interested in anything like that. I'm sure you'd love to do a review of them. I can do a review of them for sure. I don't know if I'd use them, because like most of my AOS stuff is just on, like I've just rebased everything. So like, yeah, no, I'll check them out. And I'm not afraid of rebasing my guys. So I don't know that I necessarily use them myself, but I'll definitely give them a look. And maybe that helps me solve the question of which of my armies do I rebase? Because maybe I do one actually rebasing them, and I could try to converge for the other one. So yeah, well, shoot me a message to my Facebook page, and we'll check it out. So anyway, I'm gonna finish cleaning these guys off. I got half an hour to go get the girl and get the boy up and dressed. So we are gonna sign off for this one, but that was a great chat. I got one of my bikes built. I knew I wasn't gonna get them all built because, like, you know, they're not simple to build. But there we go. There's number 1, and then his arm separate. And we'll do some airbrushing on these. You might see them on the paint table relatively soon. I'll try and get them all built this week, and at least like the project like laid out in front of me. And next week, hopefully, I'll have some time to actually do some like in-studio airbrushing and painting and stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out and having a piece of Ash and a good chat. We'll see you for more of this next time. Till I'm Ash. Have a great day.